All right, welcome back. The last time they got this kind of coverage, James O'Keefe and Hannah Giles were dressed as a pimp and a prostitute in that undercover sting of the group ACORN. This morning, they were in front of the cameras once again, and Contessa Brewer has their story. Hi, Contessa.
Hi there, Dylan. The idea behind this morning's press conference was to let these two college students, quote, set the record straight about the sting. In doing so, O'Keefe narrated some of the undercover video that appeared to catch ACORN employees in several states providing financial advice on how to conceal illegal activities. ACORN has slapped O'Keefe and Giles with a lawsuit saying its workers did nothing wrong, that the two violated electronic surveillance laws. O'Keefe fired back this morning.
America, ACORN lied to you. The employee in question lied to you. Bertha Lewis lied to you. The president of the Philadelphia organization lied to you. The head organizer in Philadelphia lied to you. Media Matters, which gets millions and millions and millions of dollars, couldn't do basic investigative fact-finding, but two amateur kids with a camcorder and $1,000 could. It's pathetic.
A new effort has cropped up to help these two. A website called DefendHannah.com has been set up by the Liberty Legal Institute, which has promised to defend Giles pro bono. Breitbart, the website that first aired the undercover tapes, is soliciting money for a defense fund for O'Keefe. One side note here, also present at today's event, Republican Congressman Steve King. He's been outspoken, pushing Congress to strip ACORN of its federal funding. The Senate and House have voted in favor of such provisions, but the bills are still pending. In addition, the legislation may face constitutional roadblocks since ACORN has only been indicted but not brought to trial. ACORN said all along the tape was manipulated. And with that, Dylan, go back to you.
All right, thank you very much. Joining us, Utah Republican Congressman Jason Chaffetz. He's been pursuing ACORN as a member of the House Judiciary Committee on Government Oversight and Reform. Also with us, a spokesman for ACORN, Brian Kettering. Representative Chaffetz, in brief, what's the action that you seek from here? Where do we go forward?
Well, the concern is not just these videos, is that there's been a pattern of nefarious activities. Yep. This is an organization that operates in 120 cities, 43 states, has had over 70 different convictions around the state, again, around the country. And the concern is that they are using this organization to participate in activities that we should not stand for.
I understand the concern. I think a lot of people understand what the concerns are. What I'm asking you is, what do you want done?
Well, they've taken over $50 million of the taxpayers' money. They qualify for billions of dollars under the stimulus and other programs. I think they've earned their reputation, and I want to make sure that they don't get any further federal funding.
Understood. Now, on that front, there are a variety of people that have received all sorts of federal funding, from Halliburton to AIG, under either fraudulent or questionable circumstances. I appreciate and applaud your pursuit of ACORN. Would you apply that same pursuit, for instance, to Halliburton here, which had $1.4 billion between 2000 and 2008, or AIG, which got $85 billion, no strings attached, from the taxpayer, and is now healthily, in its own weird sense, back in business? Would you expand the scope of this? Because I agree with where you're headed.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, that's why we want to get after what's going on with Countrywide and in their Friends of Angelo program.
Yes.
That's why they're defense contractors out there. Absolutely.
Yeah, get us a hearing. We want a hearing on all this. Now,
if we can get the Democrats to allow us to have a hearing, that's exactly what we want to do. But right now, Democrats are preventing us from having that hearing. And we're looking at having just a minority hearing because right now there's a blockade in the committee.
Yeah, on the ACORN side, Brian, when you look at the overriding issue, which is, do organizations that take money from the taxpayer, whether it's voter organizations like ACORN or corporate organizations like the ones that I referenced, do they exploit the taxpayer for their benefit in some way? Apply that overall concept to the accusations as it applies to ACORN, and is ACORN, in your opinion, able to defend itself differently than some of these other organizations from Halliburton to AIG that may be defrauding all of us as taxpayers?
Sure, Dylan, thanks. I mean, I think the first thing I'd like to remind the congressman, this is not Fox, this is MSNBC, so it's not a fact-free zone. So
I know, Brian, I'm going to stop you right there, because I'll do this show on the internet. This has nothing to do with MSNBC or Fox.
Okay.
And I'll deal with the congressman if you deal with me. How is it that you can help all of us address the issue of organizations defrauding taxpayers for their personal benefit?
Well, First of all, ACORN has, ACORN's an organization of 500,000 families that work every day to improve communities. That we first have to sort of get the definitions right. Secondly, when organizations take public money, they have to serve the public interest, and ACORN has done that. Third, I would just remind you that Representative Chaffetz just misrepresented. ACORN has never been convicted of anything, ever. And there's been a total lack of due process in this entire conversation. We're basically having a discourse that's based on manipulated videos and a sort of packaged scandal. This morning's press conference that Mr. O'Keefe held was essentially him complaining that we hurt his feelings because we challenged his representation of what happened in Philadelphia. But the fact of the matter is, I have in my hand the police report that we filed in Philadelphia. And what we've always said, what happened in Philadelphia was when they came in, they asked for help. We talked to them for a while. We asked them to leave, and we filed a police report. So I mean, the very fact that we're having this conversation is unfortunate, because what we should really be talking about is the foreclosure crisis, or as you talked about earlier, the financial re-regulation issues, or health care.
But I agree with you, Brian, but I find this conversation actually very compelling and telling, because the debate over the use of taxpayer money, which is what Representative Chaffetz is arguing, and you're making a very compelling argument in your own right, saying, listen, you're pointing the gun in the wrong direction. You're coming after us. There are other people to go to, but it is an opportunity here to explore the use of taxpayer money. And is your point ultimately, Brian, that there's never been any inappropriate behavior by ACORN?
No, we were very clear and have been consistently clear that some of the video depicted inappropriate behavior, and those folks were terminated. But it's just not representative of what ACORN does. We are the organization that is trying to dig the nation out of the foreclosure crisis. A lot of the funds that Representative Chaffetz wants to cut off, in fact, are monies that are used to help stop the foreclosure crisis and to solve it. And I think this does get to your larger point, Dylan, which is what got us into the foreclosure crisis was irresponsible deregulation. And we're now seeing the same objections to regulating and addressing the predatory lending issues that ACORN warned about all along. So we're actually trying to do the work to solve the crisis. Others are actually trying to cut off money and obstruct the work to get us out of the foreclosure crisis.
Understood. Brian, thank you. Representative Chaffetz, I'm sure you have lots more to say. I'm out of time. If both of you can help us get rid of the fraud that exists, whether it's inside of your own organizations like ACORN or your own organization like the government that is providing taxpayer money, no strings attached to bankers, get us some hearings, Representative. We'd love to hear some answers, whether it's friends of Angela Mazzillo and the Democratic Party getting sweetheart deals on houses, or whether it's Hank Paulson and Tim Geithner giving away our money to banks with no strings attached. The American people deserve a hearing, and Representative, the more you can get that for us, the more grateful we will all be to you. Thank you very much, Representative Chaffetz and Brian. Thank you both. Contessa, what else is going on?